Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Max AC channel. For this episode, I thought I would try to do another simple recipe, pan-roasted marinated chicken and vegetables. I was trying to come up with a good title for this dish, and I think this one fits it pretty well, though there are a few more ingredients than it may seem at first. I guess you technically don't need most of these ingredients to make a delicious meal, but if you want to make it the same as mine, you will need 12 ingredients. Specifically, you'll need some chicken breast, some garlic, some lemon, balsamic vinegar, and olive oil. These ingredients will be for the marinade. Then you will also need some seasonings, including red pepper flakes and paprika. These are, of course, entirely optional if you don't want to use them, but I think that they add a nice spiciness to the dish.
It's spicy!
Then for the vegetables, I used some Brussel sprouts, some baby gold potatoes, and a couple of onions. And, as usual, some salt and pepper. In terms of prep, there are a few things we need to take care of before throwing the stuff on the pan. For the chicken breast, we will be marinating them, so first chop them up into quarters and put them in a bowl or bag. I guess it's probably not necessary to dry your chicken since we are doing a wet marinade, but I like doing it to make it easier to hold. Once that's done, chop up a couple of garlic cloves and add it to the chicken. Then grab your balsamic vinegar and pour about 3 to 4 tablespoons into the container. Also add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Then mix that all together until evenly coated. I usually try to grab from the bottom of the bowl and then bring it to the top, as you can see here. Doing this allows all of the pieces to be coated pretty well. Next, add about half a lemon's worth of juice. Don't worry too much if you get any seeds in the marinade. Once in the oven, the seeds will soften and won't be too much of a nuisance. But my perfectionism wanted to get rid of them now, so that's what I did.
Unacceptable!
After that's done, mix the mixture again so that the lemon juice is also distributed as well. I guess you could have waited until now to mix it all together, but I find it easier to mix incrementally. Now we let it marinate for about an hour in the fridge. You can skip this step if you really need to, but I think that it helps keep the chicken breast moist while it cooks in the oven. You could also wait even longer if you want to, but try to keep it within 24 hours, since the vinegar and lemon juice are both acidic, and will break down the chicken too much if you let it marinate too long.
You cursed rat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world!
But if you do decide to skip this step entirely, do allow it to marinate at least while you prep the rest of the ingredients. If you decided to marinate the chicken, take it out of the fridge now and let it continue to marinate on the counter next to you. While this is happening, cut your onions into quarters. You want to keep your onions thick since we don't want them to burn in the oven. Which reminds me, make sure to preheat your oven to 375 during this time as well. Next, grab your Brussels sprouts and halve or quarter them depending on their size. My Brussels sprouts this time were a lot smaller than usual, so I just left them how they were. But as you can see, I still cut off the stems. This is definitely not necessary at all, but I find that this part of the Brussels sprout ends up being pretty tough and kind of bitter even after cooking them, so I find it more enjoyable just to cut it off now. Once that's done, you want to get your potatoes and halve them. This will allow them to cook faster and double the number of potato pieces. Now that these are all prepped, grab your sheet pan and line it with aluminum foil. This isn't necessary, but it helps with the cleanup, so that's why I use it. Then add the vegetables to the pan and drizzle some olive oil on them. I then recommend spreading the vegetables around to distribute the oil more evenly. After that's done, sprinkle some salt and pepper onto the vegetables. Perceptive viewers might notice that this is a different pepper that I showed earlier. To be honest, I couldn't find the pepper that I showed, so I grabbed another one, but use whatever pepper you like. Then, grab the chicken and add it in between the vegetables on the pan. And if you have any leftover marinade, pour it over the vegetables. Next, grab your red pepper flakes and paprika and sprinkle that over the chicken and vegetables. Once the oven is done preheating, carefully put the pan into the oven and let it bake for about 30 minutes. While that's cooking, get out your cooling rack. However, if you're like me and don't have one of those, you can make your own with some aluminum foil. Just take a sheet like this and roll it up into a cylinder, and then make a circle like this. Repeat this 3 more times and you got yourself a DIY cooling rack. This next step is entirely optional, but for the last few minutes, turn your broiler to high if you want everything to be extra crispy. Once it's done cooking, carefully take the pan out of the oven and place it on your cooling rack. Check your potatoes with a fork, and if they're not done yet, put the pan back into the oven for about 5 more minutes. Mine turned out fine, but your potatoes might cook differently depending on their size. Also, you can check your chicken as well, but 30 minutes should be more than enough time to fully cook it. Then, let it rest for a couple minutes, and your pan-roasted marinated chicken and vegetables is ready to eat. My favorite part about this dish is just how simple it is and how easy it is to swap out ingredients. For example, if you want to substitute the Brussels sprouts for another vegetable like broccoli, it's pretty simple to do so. You obviously might need to adjust the cooking time, but you probably wouldn't need to change it too much. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know how it went if you decided to make it, and let me know if there's anything you want me to make next. Like the video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to this channel for more episodes of the Max AC channel. And remember, if you want to stay cool in the kitchen, turn your AC to the max and watch the Max AC channel. Once the oven is done preheating, carefully put the pan into the oven and let it bake for about 30 minutes.